I think it's really built just a lot of sympathy for the process of how difficult that is to, you know, we're waiting and feeling that roller coaster while our own lives are perfectly safe. And, there's, everyone's got their own stuff, but where it's like we all have pretty like settled, safe lives. And that felt like a roller coaster for us. And just thinking like, I can't imagine the back and forth and especially if it's years of waiting and then and this is where the grief for our first family of years of waiting and being told here's your travel date and then losing that um really. So with that, I think we've really seen just like the brokenness of the world. Like there is so much brokenness in the world, um so much suffering, when that's what causes this in the first place. No one should have to flee their country. No one should have to flee their home. Like, so the reason people are having to flee, that alone is so grieving and it's so reflective of the broken world that we live in. And then, seeing how complex the process is and how there can be injustice in place too when people have done things like the right way and then it kind of doesn't make a difference. So I think really it's built a sense of like sympathy for how difficult it is and what these families know they're going into. Like the family who did finally make it here, just knowing, they said like it was 3.5 years of waiting from point of application to point of arrival. Um, and so like that was a really long, hard journey. And then even now as they're here, there's more waiting of as we're waiting still to find long-term housing because people don't want to rent to someone who doesn't have a job history yet. And it's like, well, yeah, they just got here. Of course they
Yeah.
don't. And so even with the guarantees our church has for the fundraising, that's just been really hard. So there's still, it's like they got here and they're still waiting. They're still
Mhm.
going to be waiting on how long is it going to take for their girls to be able to pick up the language and start doing well in school. Once we get them enrolled in school, we can't even get them enrolled yet because they're in a rental, a short-term rental.
Mhm.
So just knowing they're still waiting ahead. Um, and I think what that's encouraging us all to do is just remembering like we are waiting in the Lord and nothing, like He is not surprised by any of this. And God is not limited by time constraints or like these things, even when we can rightly grieve certain things in the waiting process, that like we can bring that grief and bring um just those trials to the Lord, knowing like he is above this and He is trustworthy through this. um but it's hard.